Hello, collective. Welcome to the channel. I hope you're doing well and the day is treating you kindly. It is November 15th, 2025, and I'm back with a message. So this curator is insisting that this magistrate isn't worthy. They're saying that she's not a virgin. Others counter with she is virgin-like because she's been celibate for so long. They're really insisting that she's not worthy. There's medicine that she needs. There's no hymen. They've prostituted her energy, but not her body. And she smokes herbs occasionally. So they're angry about this, and they feel they've been in charge of life for a long time, and they are twisted in their minds, and they have completely lost track with reality and the morals and ethics of living. They did everything they could to sabotage this person. They've poisoned everything and everybody to get them to be sick so that they will take the medicine so that this curator could then claim ownership of the temple that houses their spirit and soul. It was very much intentional and foul play. They're upset because the authorities have accepted her despite their best attempts to have her rejected and denied. They're using a copycat to do bad things out there, wearing a mask, to try and get this magistrate barred and rejected. They're trying to create some kind of incriminating evidence against her. They want her to be cast out so that these nasty jacks can then harvest her and use that powerful energy to dominate others. But the Most High God said, never give it back. You will never give it back. He won't let these people have your energy again. They are too irresponsible and childish, and they have no sense of responsibility. They're only thinking of their need. So research. This magistrate fell to tell. She has brought forth details regarding their trap and drain scheme of the living, their practice of identity theft and fraud. They used the word reconciled. They're having a hushed conversation. She has been reconciled, and she has brought forth irrefutable evidences of the crimes that they have done here. Again, they were discussing how the jinn were satisfied by some kind of sexual molestation. The curator is speaking quietly, telling a younger that this is their opportunity, that she has a beautiful soul. The curator is still coaching younger people how to go out and snatch souls. He's trying to sell them the idea that they can have access to everything that she is if they can just obtain her. The curator is talking about prostitution, and he's also talking about government officials. They claim that this magistrate is a psychic who is innocent, who needs medicine. And there's something about Obama saying, well, if she needs her medicine, they insist they own her and her vessel, housing soul and spirit. Somebody is saying that she's dignified. She can do whatever she wants to do, and they're big mad. There is a big mess going on in the minds of these masculines. They're talking about a gatekeeper and needing a relationship. So this magistrate is the gatekeeper. And that's why they took her out. She had a relationship with somebody, and they took her out, and then they commanded her gate, and they let in all of these demonic entities into these synthetic bodies. And then they wore masks and did terrible things with her energy, wearing her face. They consider themselves an opponent, but they want to use words of love and get in the energy of this sacred space, of this gatekeeper. Somebody said bubonic, which is a severe bacterial infection that is characterized by swollen and painful lymph nodes. It's called the Black Plague and the Black Death. They're talking about budgets. Isn't that a crime? A younger masculine asked this curator. Yeah, the younger masculine, they're trying to coach them to gang up on this gatekeeper. They want control over this gate. She has dominion over the planet. Who gets to come and who has to go? That is a designated decision by this magistrate who is source connected to the Most High God. And these guys are pissed because they got to get off the damn planet. They're not supposed to be here. They hijacked her energy, her life, her identity, and her intellectual property, and the gate that she was gatekeeping. And they completely let in rats of all freaking kinds. And they decided that they were going to reformat the life forms that are permitted here, and they were going to terraform the whole planet so that it could not support human beings anymore. Isn't it a crime? Why, yes, younger, it is a crime. The curator is trying to convince the youngers to follow his direction and actually move against this magistrate. Somebody else is calling this feminine a victor, but they're not stopping. There's a group of masculines telling each other that she needs her medicine, and that is all they need. That's like a yes. That's like a I can RAP it, I can drink it, I can eat it, I can do whatever I want with it. Pharmaca! Boo! Magic man! These guys are trying to harvest this magistrate. They want her energy and her identity and her role. They want all of her wealth and status. They want the role of this gatekeeper. They want control of the planet and who gets to come here and who has to leave. They want her family. They almost exterminated her entire family, eating them, raping them, selling them into other dimensional realities as slaves, force breeding them with other entities, other species, trying to improve their lineage. There's a whole group of men out here talking about her replacement. Some masculines are talking about a villain or how something is villainous. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. This curator is explaining to others that she is psychic. He really wants them on board with his intention to harvest and replace her. He is insane with need and greed. This is not his home. There was an agreement to collaborate at some point, and then they committed all kinds of fraud, forbidden magic, and illusions. They overtook this garden and they turned it into a war zone, a slaughterhouse, and a freaking brothel of everything divine. They just want to F everything that's living because they're dead, man. They don't have any energy. They're not their own source. They are weak when it comes to essence and energy, vital force. They need to feed on the human race. I had a vision. The words health hazard. They are a health hazard. This curator is calling this woman sanctimonious, which means making a show of being morally superior to others. And that is not the case at all. It simply is that she is morally superior to him, this sex trafficker, this rapist. And he's very mad that people see her as a pure being. He tried very hard to defile her. She does not portray herself as better than anyone. She just is, and he knows it. He's an energy harvesting whore. He's trying to infect everyone with his foul nature. Someone off in the distance said something about very cruel. This entity is very cruel. He hates the woman. He hates the mother, especially the original organic human mother. This curator is a real ugly energy. They're calling her imperishable, which is not subject to decay, destruction, or death, permanent and enduring. They're upset because no matter how many times they kill her, she keeps reincarnating. She endures forever, and apparently she's been the star of the show every lifetime. This is her last lifetime story, according to the Divine Mother. They're desperate to consume her energy and her gifts, but the mother said that they will not obtain her, and that she needs to be prepared because these entities are not going to survive. Confirmation. I had a vision. There was a man putting on a green jacket. It buttoned up the front, or zipped up the front, and it had a matching green hat. It was a vibrant green, not an olive green. The hat was round and the top kind of caved in like a derby, but there was no brim to the hat. It's like a military person was called up out of bed very quickly. Somebody threw another person's ID and all of their belongings into a recycle bin. Yesterday, I heard these men say to erase her identity. These ones have been abusive for so long, and their abuse is being stopped. They want to stop all who are actively canceling their abilities in this realm. I had a vision. It was a woman that appeared to be on a bus. She was wearing a pink dress. It was long, sort of like a camisole, and it was overlaid with a long overcoat, which seemed to be like a brownish color. Beautiful outfit. Somebody said a name, Aleo, as a question. Aleo? One who brings joy or is full of joy. Joy or happiness. Somebody doesn't think that this is funny anymore. Oh, brutalizing the divine feminine isn't funny anymore. Oh, this isn't fun anymore. It's not funny anymore. The curator is complaining. He's whining because somebody told him that he is self-important. He has an exaggerated sense of his own value. Now, this entity has no power unless he consumes the life force of another. He is accustomed to being seen as this magistrate. For a long time, he had her buried in darkness where nobody could see her, and he was pulling off of her energy, her intellectual property, and he was misusing all of her gifts. This magistrate, she is a gatekeeper. She is also the goddess, apparently, of time. And these jackholes were using her gifts to open dimensional realities with a twist and selling her human family as slaves into these spaces where they were abused and are abused by other entities not human, force breeding them. They did this with her energy. They tried to frame her as a terrorist doing these things to her own family. She is free. She's been emancipated. And he no longer controls this energy or those gifts. He is insane with need. For a long time, he has claimed ownership of all life on this planet. And he has allowed low vibrational people to consume it without any barriers whatsoever. People can see that he never was what he portrayed himself to be. He has been separated from her energy, and they can all see that he doesn't have the power that he claimed he had. It was all false. It was all harvested. It was all stolen ability. It was an illusion and a game. He's angry, and he wants to harvest this woman again, to pretend to be just like her. In order to do so, he must feed on her so that he can cast the illusion. Someone is talking about test tube. So there might be talk about all of the genetic experiments that these ones have been doing upon the living, trying to generate another life form. Their boss, their interdimensional person, has a specific requirement for whatever life form he wants to live here. And the problem for them is that they've lost control. They do not have dominion of this planet. They're desperate to get rid of this magistrate so that they can continue with their genetics research, experimentation, and dropping everybody into a South Node suffering extreme so that they can harvest that energy and then fuel themselves on that traumatized flesh. This is the message, and I'll see you on the next one, everybody.